Dance for me, boy. Pizza boy. Dance. If only you people, you audio people, could see Connor in his jig that he does every week. You need to join us on Twitch on Friday nights. Meanwhile, I just kind of sit here like an old dude. Doing the whole production design, checking everything constantly, making sure everything's working, and he just gets to play. He's the talent, I'm the workhorse. He's gagging on his pizza over there or something.
No, I'm not.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 54 of the Gene Pool Variety Hour.
And evidently this is a breadstick.
Let's try that again. Welcome everybody to episode 54 of the Gene Pool Variety Hour. I'm Sean, I'm the old fart of the group, I'm the old dad, I'm the geek. Old guard. And the guy on the other end of the screen, the big guy on the bottom part of the screen is...
Buongiorno. No, I am Connor, and I am the pizza boy of the group.
Yeah, well, because he is scarfing down pizza as we're doing this. So
and I worked as a pizza guy for like a year and a half.
Well, that's true. That's true. So I would just say this: when you're speaking, close to the mic. When you're chewing, away from the mic, because we don't need to hear the stuff. No, please don't. That's nasty. So anyway, for those of you guys who've never heard of us before, or never listened to us before, or watched us before, if there happens to be somebody lurking in the stream, we're a father-son ADHD duo. We're the nerds of the family. Nobody else in the family likes to talk about nerdy stuff, is really into nerdy stuff. And so we...
Immediate family now, anyway.
His
extended family, we have a lot.
Yeah, so his whole life, he and I spent time talking about nerdy movies, nerdy things, games, and movies, and all kinds of weird stuff. And didn't have anybody else to talk to in the house, but we had each other. Well, Connor's now moved off to Ohio, and so we do this on Friday nights. It's our way to hang out with each other and share some of our nerdiness with you. Like I said, we're both ADHD. Connor's got a touch of some Aspie going on as well, and so we kind of go all over the place, and we chase a lot of chickens. So we have a mascot named Chase, and he hangs out with us most of the time. So
bump it.
Bump
it, Chase.
Okay.
Bump it. Come on, bump it.
Well,
Do it. Bump it.
I don't know. Okay.
There we go. There.
Yeah, but see, you're looking at a different camera than they are. So when I point it to the camera so you can see them, they can't see them. So I have to move them up here. So anyway, all right, that's riveting. Oh wow, okay. And that was not a sound effect. That was not a sound clip that I paid for. That came free from the sun in Ohio, because he does not know how to close his mouth apparently. So anyway,
I thought it was a lot smaller. I'm sorry. I did not know it was gonna flow like that.
Your burps are never slow. They are never slow. They're never quiet. They're always like that. And you make a point to open your mouth even further. Oh, by the way, I forgot to reset our timer so that we can make sure we stay on track. So I want to do that. So anyway, what we do is we typically just talk about all kinds of nerdy stuff, whatever comes to our head. We chase a lot of chickens. We will talk about, I wouldn't call it reviewing, but we talk about a random movie every week. We typically roll Dragon Dice and pick a movie at random on one of the streaming services, watch it during the week, and then we talk about it during the episode. We also do a Geek Question. Connor, his whole life, would always come to me with little geeky, nerdy debate-type questions. He's done that forever. So we just made it part of the podcast. And lately we've been trying to kind of tie it into the movie. So that's what we're doing again tonight. So those are the things we're going to do, but we always start with just kind of hanging out and seeing what's been going on. I'm probably going to start because he's got a mouthful of pizza and breadsticks all right now, and so he can't speak because he's chewing. So I will start this time.
I'm good now.
Okay, go. Stealing my thunder.
Haven't I always, though?
Yeah. If we're honest, yes.
Yes. So, big news this week on the Ohio McKay branch home front.
Slow it down. Yes.
Sorry. So one, as you guys know, my my fiance recently had to sell her car because it was essentially one accident away from being totaled. The um,
Excuse me, I'm
transmission.
adjusting some accoutrement right now. Sorry. That feels better.
Um, the transmission on her old car was ho- was horrible. She couldn't drive it safely. So essentially, it was sitting in the back parking lot for 2 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Then she sold it and got a quick buck from that. And then just yesterday, Hey, I went with her to a car dealership, and she was able to get a car,
Nice.
an awesome 2015 Chevy Trax, cherry red, barely 70,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And,
Good. And
she's,
so you guys got to do a little bit of adulting. That was
oh
your.
yeah,
It was kind of your first real big adulting thing, right? I mean, getting an apartment and paying bills, I mean, that's fairly easy to do, but going and sitting in with a car dealership and talking to a salesman and buying
for
a
3
car.
hours.
Oh, dude. You can't, if you're going to buy a car, from the time you set foot on a car lot and look at a car, if it on the one that you finally settle on, it's always at least 3 hours. At least 3 hours. I can't stand it. I mean, I almost want to do the whole Carvana thing and do the whole car vending machine and say, I want that one, put in my cash, pull it out and go. I hate buying a car. I hate it. Always.
The biggest concern we had was the fact that that neither of us had any credit.
Yeah, I know.
Zero credits. But but
this
thankfully, they were able to work with Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, you have to start somewhere. You're right, and that was
exactly.
Great. And it was great that you guys found a dealership that her dad trusted. Because that's the half of the battle right there. Is because you can find some car dealerships, and depending on the sales management of that dealership, they might be do whatever you got to do, play whatever you got to games you got to play to get that car sold. And that's the game. That's the way it used to be, and that's why I have a bad taste in my mouth for buying cars. They're generally much better now than they used to be. They've kind of gotten away from a lot of the games playing, not all of it, but the high-pressure games playing stuff that they used to do, because they realized that people just hated them and would just go somewhere else.
Yeah,
so,
and let's not forget the digital component as well. Nowadays, people can look up anything about a car and know if they're getting gaslighted or not.
Oh yeah, they could they say, and so the dealerships, the salesmen don't have a lot of room to maneuver and juke around like they used to, because you already have all the information. You have the Carfax history, you have everything before you walk in the door, and so their hands are a little bit tied, and I think that's great. So I think that's great that she got one, and it's definitely going to help her build up her credit. That's definitely, yep. So that's cool. So on my
let's see.
Any nerdy stuff?
Let's see. My friend Austin, and from who I knew from Warm Springs, and is in my current D&D group.
Yeah.
With his current tax return, he bought the new Oculus, and as a gift, he's sending me his old one for free.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And it's got everything. The headset, the controllers. He's throwing in some batteries. He's the cord, carrying case, everything.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool. So so what do you play on the Oculus Rift? I've never played on the Oculus Rift, so I wouldn't know.
Excuse me. I minimized it and blew it away. Did I not?
Well, it's not like this is smell-o-vision. They couldn't smell it. I'm just saying. I'm sure this is great radio. All right, so you got the Oculus Rift. So what kind of games do you play on the Oculus Rift?
I actually should do some research on that.
Yeah, kind of might want to do that.
At least I'm not spending any money on it,
True. That's
I
true.
mean, it's just straight up. I mean, straight up. It's because he's my close friend. He's just like, you want it?
You guys lived and went to school together for a year, of course.
Yeah,
that's cool. And he was in your D&D group then. He's in your D&D group now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, he could have probably
playing a cleric.
Ah, see?
Oh yeah,
the unsung hero of the party. Everybody hates the cleric until his body parts start falling off, and they're like, "Where's the cleric? We need the healer. You need to cure some disease, to heal my curse." I'm like, "Oh yeah, now you need the healer. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm gonna heal you, and then I'm out of here. I'm gonna hit you with my mace, and I'm gonna jack you up, and then we'll leave. I'm gonna smite you with holy smite, and leave. You know." That's what I always hate. It's like, okay, that. Hey, Griffin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Griffin.
Well, okay, if you're a combat medic, that's a different bill. But I'm talking about, because I came, Griffin, I came from old school where there weren't like multi-classes. Multi-class just started when we were kind of coming to the end of our playing years ago, and so it was basically just your straight classes. So you had fighter, cleric, wizard. You had those kind of things. So a cleric was just a cleric, and with a mace and a shield, and that was it. So, but now, when you can have, mix all the bills and do all that kind of stuff, there's a lot more customization. I'm just talking about back in the day when I was playing the cleric and I was the healer. So, anyway, it is what it is.
Back in my day, only 4 classes in D&D.
We had
a fighter, a rogue, a wizard, and the aristocrat. I don't know. I was being stupid.
What in the world are you talking about? What game are you talking about?
I was being stupid.
So anyway, what? My gosh, that definitely deserves. I don't even remember what we were talking about. How did we get there? It's a chicken. You don't even remember how you got there.
We were talking about my friend.
Yeah. That whole thing. Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah. I mentioned he's playing a cleric, and then you went into your whole thing.
Yeah. So
you got us on that chicken.
I chased that chicken. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The healing chicken.
Dova chicken. No, Dova chicken.
Dova hen. Ah.
That works.
There you go, Dova hen. There you go. So anyway. Okay, that deserves another chicken. Anyway, so let's talk about some other stuff. So,
let's see. Me and Nikki are also doing some more adulting this weekend, finding a laundromat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
No. Some stuff happened, and let's leave it at that.
Yeah. You decided to do some stuff and find a laundromat. So that's great. Cool. Does the apartment complex not have its own washer and dryer like laundromat place? Really? Every apartment complex that I had in college.
Here before, Dad. It's a small place.
I've been in almost all apartment complexes that I ever knew had a laundry center in the apartment complex. You still had to pay, but it's like the apartment complex's own laundromat, right? Just so you had to go somewhere else. But
this complex, you have your own washer and dryer hookup in the apartment.
Well, that's true. Okay. Is it gas or is it electric?
It's electric.
Okay. So anyway, Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You had to get a car.
Exactly. No space. No. Exactly. Had to get the car. All right, which she is named Highwind.
Highwind. The gummy ship from Kingdom Hearts.
Something from Kingdom Hearts. We don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts.
I'm just saying specifically because some of the people watching might know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Griffin might know. I don't know. I never played Kingdom Hearts. So, on my end, we're coming up next week. So, we're driving up next Wednesday.
Excited.
We're driving up next Wednesday. We'll be there until Tuesday.
Just to clarify, Coco is not coming?
No, Coco's not coming. Coco has gotten all of her shots yesterday. She's updated on her shots, and she's being boarded next week. So,
okay, that's cool.
Ultimus Prime. That's a good one. So,
wait, what's that?
He's got a Nissan Altima. He calls it Ultimus Prime. I had when I was in high school and in college, I had a 1979 bright canary yellow Mazda RX-7, and we called it the Banana. That was the banana.
Yeah,
And then I had that Monte Carlo that was kind of like coppered in the sides and cream on the hood and everything, and it looked kind of like a lion's mane, so it was Simba. So yeah, my car's always. And then I had a piece of crap 1984 black Pontiac Fiero, and we called it Black Death because you never knew when it was gonna die. So yeah. Anyway, that's a car chicken. Yes.
Do you remember early in our times in Georgia, you had that white car thing, was a hatchback or something?
Yeah, it was a Toyota RAV4. Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't have a name. At that point, I was a dad and had kids. I didn't name my cars at that point. I'm like, I'm too tired.
You always need.
I'm too tired.
To name your cars.
I'm too tired to name my cars. So at that point,
That's
so whatever.
sad.
But anyway, so we're coming up next week, and we're actually driving all the way to Ohio to camp in a tent. So.
Oh yeah.
Which is, your mom likes to camp.
I need to get s'mores.
We got
stuff to make s'mores.
We got the big tent out.
Nice.
Put it up the other day, let it air out a little bit since it hasn't been used in years in the attic. So
decades, you mean?
Works just fine. It's ready to go. And somehow we're going to pack the tent, chairs for the three of us, clothes, an ice chest. We're not going to do any of our grocery shopping until we get up there, really, but an ice chest with stuff. Games and as much stuff as we can cram in Mom's Honda Fit.
You can probably fit a lot in there since there's only three of you.
Well, there's that, and we can let one of the seats down, and it's a hatchback. So I mean,
exactly.
We put almost all, except for Luke's furniture when we moved him out of the dorm at Auburn. His furniture went in his truck, but everything else in his apartment. In his dorm went in that Honda Fit, crammed in that Honda Fit. So it'll hold on.
Really?
Yeah, but it's going to be a tight squeeze. It's going to be about as tight a squeeze as it was the three of us riding in that U-Haul up there to move you up last year.
Okay.
So we're doing that.
Oh,
and
wow,
then,
that really was a year ago.
Yeah, and then, my birthday was a big year ago. Yeah, I know. And and then when we get back from there, then the following week, your mom's heading out to Oklahoma for the summer. And so that'll be a man cave. Summer of streaming will happen. That's when I'll start my Mass Effect streams and probably stream Mass Effect probably every night almost through the summer, except for Friday nights.
Every night, every day, 6 to 12.
Okay, I have
AM to AM.
I have a job I have to go to. So there is that. So apart from that,
who cares about a job? You have plenty of money.
I have to pay for my habits. Okay, I have to pay for these things, including a house. So,
okay.
So anyway, so we're doing that, and then I'm gonna be doing all that stuff. Then right now, I'm looking forward to us being done tonight because it sounds like the three amigos are gonna hop on Destiny and grind out some strikes and some lost sectors and stuff. So. I'm looking forward to that as always. But other than that, not much has been going on. We've just been kind of hanging out. So
that's good.
Why? What? Yes.
My friend Casey, is going to be starting a Minecraft stream.
Oh, okay.
Soon, and
cool.
And I'm going to hop on that.
Nice. So, another thing, I mentioned last week that Dragon Con is going. They're having a live con this year. I mean, they're going to have a virtual part as well, but it's going to be live, and there's looking like there's some chances for me to be on a couple of panels again this year. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So and it'd be kind of cool to do it live instead of just on the screen in my house. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And all right, so and Mitch is telling you that when you hear about the stream of you being on the Minecraft streams and stuff, to let them know. So you need to post that up. So, okay, so that's pretty cool. That I'm going to be looking into doing that later in the summer. It's going to be a weird Dragon Con though. Okay, Horseshack, stop. Let me finish what I'm saying. All right. So it's going to be a weird Dragon Con because it's going to be live again, which is going to be fantastic. I'm so happy about that. But it's going to be the first Dragon Con I've ever gone to without you.
Yeah.
That's going to be weird. I don't know how. And all of our podcasting buddies that we've gotten to know over the last year may or may not be there because of all the COVID stuff, and they got little kids, and they've got to travel, and so there's still a good chance that they're not coming. So,
it's going to be weird.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of weird. So I will probably be. Oh, there goes the chicken again. There's my cord. My cord touches my Kindle Fire screen. Kindle Fire, worst tablet ever. So you have to spit when you say Kindle Fire because it's the worst tablet ever. When my cord touches the touch screen, it turns it. Anyway, it sucks. So, and that does deserve a chicken because I went off on a tirade. So anyway, yeah. So I don't know how that's going to be. I might end up just literally hanging out in the digital media track panels the entire weekend. I'll probably go to Walk of Fame some, but anyway, and it's just gonna be weird. I mean, I might try if some of the folks are staying in a room.
Griffin will be there.
Yeah, and it may be that if some of those folks come and they're able to get a room, I might share a room with them instead of taking the train and just staying at Page's. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, all right. So I think we need to do our geek question. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Don't do it. Don't.
Fine.
Thank you. Let
But
Arnold
instead-
let Arnold
but
have
instead,
his day.
I'm going to talk about this. Is this episode brought to you by?
No, don't
by
say
Buffalo
it. Don't
Wild
say it.
Wings.
Don't. No. Okay, now I've got to pay for that. Don't say some product. We don't have permission to say those things. Stop.
I didn't know.
I was trying to tell you to stop, and you weren't listening.
I thought you were trying to say stop because you didn't want to waste time.
Oh no, we got plenty of time. No, I don't want to get in trouble for mentioning products that we're not getting paid for.
Anyway,
So, now if they want to pay us, absolutely. I will say Buffalo Wild Wings every other sentence if I have to. But anyway, so what's the question again? I came up with a question. I don't even remember it. I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember it word for word. So what is it again? Because you wrote it out earlier. Okay, here we go. All right. In a scenario, because we're kind of doing Schrodinger's cat multiverse weirdness tonight in our movie that we're talking about. So I got to thinking about meeting your alters in an alternate universe, in parallel universes. So in a scenario where you meet the best version of yourself, what would be the same and what would be different? And how would you interact with yourself?
Okay.
All right. So if you met, your alter from a parallel universe, and it was like the best version of you, what would be the same between the two of you, but what would be different in the other guy, the better version?
Let's see. Most of my online interactions brought to you by Smirnoff Vodka. Nice. Anyway, first off, as the same, and we would both still be nerds. We would both still be into video games, anime. We would both still be with Nikki, that beautiful girl in the office. Love her to death. That
Pam?
Huh?
You see that beautiful girl in the office, Pam?
No.
Sorry,
boy. Pam isn't even my type. Jenna Fisher is not my type.
Moving on, dude. There's a joke.
Anyway, I know.
Take the joke. Move on.
Anyway, I know. Anyway, that would still be the same. In the things that would be better, one, I would be in better shape. Not perfect shape like freaking Dwayne The Rock Johnson, just like I at least would not want moobs, I at least would not want that.
So, all right.
Maybe I would want a fit dad bod,
Griffin, just a more successful person.
I'd be Drunk The Rock. Okay. The actor or the wrestler, though? That's the thing. Hang on.
Dude, if you're The Rock, you can be whatever you want to be.
Pardon me.
Dwayne on The Rocks Johnson. There you go.
Oh, that's good.
There you
Dwayne on
go.
The Rocks Johnson.
There you go. There you go, Mitch. There's your name.
Dwayne
So
on The Rocks Johnson. Get that on a shirt. That needs to be on a shirt. Anyway, let's see. I would be. I actually would honestly be be a published author by now.
Yeah. Okay. So the better version of you is a nerdy guy like you, but he's already a published author and he's in better shape.
Yes, and I have a side job as a manager of a bookstore / coffee shop.
Okay. I don't get the coffee shop. I figured you'd want to be like a book shop, comic shop, nerd collectibles kind of place.
Do you realize nerds also love their coffee?
You don't though.
I'm one type of nerd. There are plenty of.
Well, I get that. Trust me, I get that.
I meant cafe. Yeah, cafe has other things besides just coffee.
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay. So is that it?
Yeah, that's honestly it.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
I would also love to have a nice, good handlebar mustache.
Have you tried growing a mustache? Really?
Have
you really
yes.
tried hard?
Yes. So yes, and it's just wispy right here. Here I'm done. And it stops like right here.
So
It
no.
basically
You just
goes
let
like
it keep
right there.
growing and just go full Fu Manchu. Just go full Fu Manchu, so you can sit there and go
I tried that.
like
It
the
looked
Kung Fu
horrible.
Master from Kill Bill.
It looked horrible. That indicates facial hair.
So you just go with the whole neck beard thing. Go the Amish
She
look,
hates
man.
that most of all.
Go the Amish look. Large and in charge Amish man.
One of her exes was a neckbeard. She doesn't.
Oh,
like
okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay. That's another issue. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Another whole thing.
All right. So is that your answer? Is that your answer to the question?
Yeah. Whoa,
Okay.
wait. George
What?
McFly. What does that mean?
I don't know. I have to see what Mitch says.
Mitch, what does George McFly mean? I know what Marty McFly, Doc Brown, Back to the Future, but I don't remember that. Oh, wait.
Okay,
I was just
okay.
referring
No,
to
but-
him as brother and wondering. what
now
I'm
you
gonna
need to do
when-
your impression.
Oh, wait. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, brother, come on. It's time for Connor Mania. No, come on, brother.
Okay, there you go. You need to string some complete sentences in there, but anyway. So if I was going to answer that question, if I was going to meet the best version of myself, the things that I think would be the same as you. I mean, the nerdy stuff, I mean, just because I love that stuff so much, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that can be a good quality. The nerdy stuff, the games, all those kind of things. I think I would still be doing what I'm doing, in terms of like being a psychologist and all that. I don't know that I would, and I love my job as it is now, but I think a cool job as a psychologist would be basically being a profiler. That would be kind of cool to do. So maybe he's doing something like that. He's working for, FBI, CIA, and he's doing the whole profiler thing. So, so maybe he's doing that. That would be how we're different. Still doing the same thing, because that's the thing with this movie. That's why they're called parallel universes. They're not identical universes. They're parallel universes. So they're similar and they're going along the same trajectory, but there's some small differences. And so be a psychologist nerd, but he might be doing something a little bit different in psychology, maybe like I said, the FBI profiler thing. If I want to get a little bit more serious about things, a better version of myself would be that I have a tendency to be kind of withdrawn and selfish sometimes, and that's doesn't always cause good relationships, especially with your wife of 30 years. Sometimes that would be better if you were a little bit more thinking of other people, but I sometimes don't. I just think of myself a little bit. So I would hope that he's a little bit more considerate of other people than I am sometimes. Yeah, so I think we'd kind of both be nerds, be psychologists. He'd be a different kind of psychologist, and probably a little bit more considerate of other people. Well played, Mitch. Well played. So for the audio folks in our chat, one of my buddies says the best version of Sean is the one where he's not a Bastion main in Overwatch because
Since
hey,
when were you a Bastion main?
On defense, I'm always a Bastion main.
Hey, I thought you were Diva on defense.
No, I hadn't done Diva in years. No, I'm on defense. I'm a Bastion main. On offense, I'm either Moira, sometimes Sombra, but usually Moira. And so when we're playing against each other, and I'm playing Bastion, they freaking hate me. When we're playing together,
because you always kill them.
When we're playing together and I'm on their team and I'm Bastion, they freaking love me. So it's a love-hate relationship. It's a love-hate relationship with my friends when we play Overwatch and I'm on defense. So anyway, I think that would be something that would be different in terms of how we interacted with each other. Knowing him and knowing how I try to take care of people, because that's just kind of what I do for a living. And I'm talking to him about him being better than me at things and this kind of stuff. He would try to make me feel better. That's what he would do. He would talk to me and try to make me feel better. And
half of the question.
And point out the positives in me that I'm not paying attention to myself. He would do to me what I do to other people. So it's just what he would do. But man, it's a weird question, especially after watching this movie and thinking about there being infinite possibilities of parallel versions of you.
I
it's
believe
freaky,
that's a real
man.
thing.
Huh?
I believe that's a real thing.
I don't.
Anyway,
mainly because I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I went and read about Schrodinger's cat because that plays a role in this movie. And I had to read the description of Schrodinger's cat like 5 times. And then I had to go to basically Schrodinger's cat for dummies to have somebody dumb it down and talk to me like I'm 5.
Talk to me like I'm 3.
To understand
Talk to me like I'm a newborn.
And I had to write. I typed it out and wrote it down so that I could explain it. But anyway, so it's fascinating. When I watched this movie, and we'll get to it in a minute. When I watched it I had to watch it twice. When I watched it the first time,
forgot the other half of the question.
Okay. Oh, you want to go back? You want to go back to the question? Okay. So the second question was, how would you guys interact with each other? Right. How would that interaction go?
Let's see. Also knowing me, he would see me struggling and want to help me because that is just who I am.
That's who you are. Right.
I mean, for as long as I can remember, I've been a giving, helping person.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since I could walk, I did that. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's just your personality. Your personality has always been that way. I mean, I tell people that story all the time of that Christmas where, you guys had gotten Christmas money and you guys both had hamsters, I think, right? Did you both have hamsters?
Gecko.
You had a gecko. You had the gecko.
Luke
had the hamster. And then the hamster disappeared. Of course, fast forward, weeks later, we found him dead under your bed.
Yeah.
But, you had that kind of bed where under your bed was drawers. So once he crawled back there, he couldn't get his way out. And we actually found teeth marks where he tried to chew his way out. So he had disappeared.
Kind of like a fish trap type thing.
Yeah, he had disappeared. Luke was really upset because you guys were little, and you literally grabbed your wad of cash that you had gotten for Christmas and handed it to Luke and says, "Here, Luke, you can go buy another hamster if it'll make you feel better because I want you to be happy." And you guys were like 8 and 6 or 10 and 8 at the time, and you did that. That's just the way you've always been. And so I don't know where you got it because, like I said, one of my faults is I tend to be more on the self-centered side. And so I definitely would have done that to my brother. I said, "Sucks to be you. Oh, well. Now you can play with that dead hamster you got there. I'm going to go hang out with my gecko." So
let's see. And then also, honestly, I think we would one, go out for pizza. And then and then we would sit right there on that day bed and play video games together all day.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know about him, if I saw a parallel version of myself, I would kind of freak out. That would not be fun.
I mean,
kind of like a couple of
well, I
times
mean-
when they see parallel versions of other people in this movie and they kind of freak out a bit. Yeah. That would be a little freaky. Why do we want to have two of me in this world anyway?
I mean, this would have been. In this question, it's the best case scenario where like it's a consensual meeting of the two people. You know, you know you're gonna meet the person, kind of like kind of like some sort of telephone system. You know, calling your doppelganger.
Yeah,
you know. You know what you're doing, so you're not really going to be surprised or scared.
Right. Okay,
Anyway.
so that's my question.
That's the answer to the question from both of us.
I mean, we'd both still be nerds. You'd be in better shape and be a published author. The other guy would still be a psychologist, but probably be an FBI profiler, and not.
Is that actually a thing?
You ever watch Criminal Minds?
I thought it was just I thought Criminal Minds was some kind of exaggeration. I didn't think they had.
Well, it's a dramatization of yes. I mean, I'm sure that the
they
psychologist
don't have an actual freaking team of these people specialized in this field.
Yes, they do. They probably don't. They probably don't run around
go out in the field.
They probably don't run around in the field with pistols and kick down doors. No,
That's what I mean.
But that's the dramatization part. But there are psychologists that's what they do. They track down serial killers by looking at all that stuff.
See that I didn't know.
Yeah.
No, I thought Criminal Minds was a special case thing. You know.
No. So anyway, so that's what my guy would be a little bit less self-centered, nerdy psychologist than me. I'm sure there's other things. I'm sure if we asked Nikki and your mom this question, they would have come up with completely different versions of the best versions of us. They'd probably be completely different.
Can I ask her real quick?
No,
now.
no, we don't have time for that. That can be that could be a side episode for our Patreon subscribers, which we don't have because we don't do Patreon.
Of course he hasn't. He's not a senior citizen.
Yeah, I don't remember what that comment was about.
I don't either.
Because there's a
don't
delay.
Remind us.
It's
just
dude,
an overlay of stuff.
Our brains are all over the place. So, anyway, so yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that question. It's a fascinating question, although I don't think it was as fun of a question to answer as I thought it was going to be because it ended up being a little bit more serious. At least for me. So it kind of made me do that whole introspection thing that I make people do in my office, and I don't like to do myself. That's why I'm a psychologist, because I make other people do it instead of me. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness, people. The audio only people, you're missing the faces and stuff. Oh.
I've kind of ever seen an episode of CSI.
He loves those shows. He watches those shows.
I've never seen any CSI.
No, not
I've
CSI.
never seen any
not
CSI.
Not CSI, but Criminal Minds you have.
Criminal Minds.
You've seen a lot of those, right?
I've only ever seen Criminal Minds. I haven't seen any other type of procedural cop show except for Psych.
Right.
And Psych was more comedy than anything.
Okay, so how about we talk about our movie?
Sure. Let's do it.
It's time for the next segment of Roll for Credits.
For credits.
Yeah, I did that wrong.
I was messing with you, Sean. I don't watch any of that stuff.
Oh, come on. You're an old guy. You're getting to be an old guy like me. You're supposed to watch those things and wear sandals with socks. Come on.
Real quick.
I mean, you got the riding lawnmower. You're only one step away, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
We know. So, anyway.
Whatever happened to Manny Patinkin in that show? Oh, why
he left after a couple of seasons. He just wanted to do everything. He didn't want to get stuck in that show, so he left. He left early. So, the movie that we watched this week was this movie you see on the screen. It was the 2014 kind of sci-fi thriller called Coherence. It stars like Emily Baldoni. I don't know who she is. There's some people in here that I recognize, but I don't know what they're from. Like Maury Sterling plays the guy named plays Kevin. I've seen him in things before, but I can't remember what. The one guy that I know that was in this show that I've seen before.
Aha. So Mitch is seeing it.
Oh, have you? Yeah. So he plays Mike. Nicholas Brendan plays Mike, and he played Penelope Garcia's boyfriend in Criminal Minds for years.
Yeah.
He also was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I
What's
never
Buffy the
watched.
Vampire Slayer?
And people love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never watched it because
what is that?
It starred Sarah Michelle Gellar, and anyway, it came on during a time when you guys were little, and so I just
Ross's
wasn't watching
brother?
those kind of TV shows. Huh?
I mean, Ross's sister, Geller.
No, oh, come on, anyway, Connor. So anyway, so the premise of this movie is these 8 people, these 4 couples get together for a dinner party, and they're just friends, and they get together for a dinner party, and there's a comet. Miller's comet is passing overhead that night, and as they're sitting at the dinner that night, one of them, M, is kind of talking
Emily.
about, well, she goes by M, is talking about Miller's comet and said that there's a report from back when it came passed by Earth back in 1923 near Finland. Weird stuff happened, and people talked about that they were in wrong houses, and she talked about a report of this woman calling the police because there was a man in her house that wasn't her husband, and when the police got there, it was her husband. She says, "No, I know that's not my husband because I killed my husband yesterday," kind of stuff. And it was just really weird, and they were kind of freaking everybody out. And then the comments started happening, and weird stuff happens the entire movie. So it plays into this whole concept of multiverses and parallel universes, and there's this, and so the whole thing is the power goes out, they start to go outside and explore the neighborhood, and then they're starting to kind of figure out, wait a minute, what's going on, because there's people out there that look like us, but it's not us. But then we go to the other house that has light in the neighborhood, and that's my house, and there's us in there, and so they start to figure out that somehow this comet has opened up like a quantum singularity or whatever you call it, that basically opens up a portal
to infinite realms,
to infinite parallel universes, and all of the 8 people in these parallel universes of these 4 couples are crossing through into all the parallel universes and not realizing what's going on.
Oh yeah, and
it is, like I said, the first time I watched it last night. And I'm kind of tired. And I'm like, I'm not getting it. I mean, I had to rewind. So I watched it again today. Loved it when I watched it today. I was more aware. I kind of had a better idea of what was going on. Fascinating freaking movie. So, and then, of course, they're trying to, and the whole thing is them figuring out, okay, there's this parallel universe stuff going on. You may or may not be my actual husband or wife. You may be one of them from the other universe because everybody's been leaving the house and coming back. I don't know if it's you or not. And them trying to figure that stuff out and how they
the only people that didn't leave the house were Lee and Beth.
Right, were 2 of the women that never left the house. And so you knew that the Beth and the Lee in that house were from that universe because they never left the house. Yeah. But the other 6, you had no idea. And just the things that they were going through to try to figure out what was going on. And how to figure out, okay, which house is my house for my universe, all the things they're doing. It was really a smart movie, and you had to really focus and be really attentive to what was going on in the movie.
I was able to follow along pretty well, actually.
So that
mainly because I was kind of introduced to all the multiverse stuff thanks to the DCCU.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, like with Flash and all that stuff, right?
The DCCWCU.
Whatever. Those
DCW, DCCU.
You want to throw in some more letters? Q, L,
CW,
B, W.
DCCA, UG.
Got it.
HIJ.
That's enough.
I
Played that joke enough. Played that joke enough. Okay. Right. I agree, Mitch. I mean, just watching it from the first time to the second time, I'm like, okay, I'm picking up on these things. I'm seeing these things, right? So I had to take tons of notes. Now, and Mitch, I can't wait to get to the point where I'm talking about all the trivia from this movie. I don't know if you read all that stuff, but the trivia behind this movie is fascinating. But anyway, so, this stuff happens, and the power goes out as they're talking about this comet. And Hugh, his brother's like an astronomer or something like that, says, hey, if anything happens, anything weird happens, give me a call, let me know. Well, the power goes out, and they have no cell service, but they see a house down the street has power. So Hugh says, I'm going to go to the other house and see if I can see if they have a phone and I can use their phone. So he and Amir leave, right? And while they're gone talking, somebody bangs on the door and freaks them out. But they don't see anybody there. A few minutes later, Hugh and Amir come back, and Hugh's kind of freaked out. Amir's got a box in his hand. Hugh he finally admits, I saw us in that other house. It was the exact same house, and I saw us in it. And Amir's got this box, and they open up this box, and there's pictures of all of them with a random number on the back of each picture, and a ping pong paddle.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's kind of random.
And so they're trying to figure out what all that is. I mean, I'm having trouble just trying to describe everything that happens. So then they decide to go back to the house. Hugh decides to go back to the house because he's going to ask him to use the phone, because he didn't do it last time because he didn't see anybody there. He starts to write a message on a piece of paper. As he's writing this message, they see somebody come to their door, and they're freaking out. And they open the door. The person's gone. They open the door, and there's a note on the door. The note on the door is the exact same note that Hugh just wrote. Same words, same paper, same handwriting. And it's at that moment they realize, what the crap? Something's going on. There's copies of us out there. Something weird's going on. And that's when they start trying to figure out everything that's happening with all the parallel universes.
At first, I thought it was some sort of time travel thing,
Yeah.
And they're stuck in some sort of repeating time loop with their past and future selves at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, clearly, obviously, as you see, as the movie goes on, it's dealing more with the parallel.
Yeah.
Because, when they lose power, they light candles and they have glow sticks. The guys, for some reason, has 3 boxes of glow sticks, red, green, and blue. And they open up the blue ones, and they're using blue glow sticks. Well, after Hugh and Amir come back, and all that stuff happens, and they're kind of freaked out, four of them decide to leave and go check it out. And I forgot why they were going to go check it out, but the 4 of them leave, and they go and they find another house. And they see the other house, and they're looking inside, and they see some of them inside, and they say, hey, somebody's coming. And then they see exact copies of themselves, except the other people have red glow sticks. And then they take off and leave each other. And then there's the whole thing where Hugh's brother is some kind of scientist, and he's left a book in the back of the car, so they go get it. And that's when you get into the quantum physics.
Clue. Yeah,
you get into all the quantum physics, and it gets super confusing because I don't get quantum physics. I don't get it either. I don't understand. And that's when they talked about Schrodinger. That's when they.
It's just easier to say, "Hey, they're stuck in the multiversal loop."
Right,
and with other versions of themselves crisscrossing from other realities.
Right, and so they do talk about
one central point.
They do talk about Schrodinger's cat in there, and I think that's important because that kind of is a metaphor for what's happening in the movie.
It's both alive and dead.
Yeah, because see, there was some kind of Einstein and some other people had some kind of theory, and I don't really understand the theory, but it was something about quantum physics and that you can have multiple realities overlapping on top of each other, right?
At the same time, yeah.
At the same time. And yes, the cat is alive and dead.
Griffin.
And so the Schrodinger's cat is basically somebody Schrodinger came up with this example to kind of refute their explanation of these multiple realities existing on top of each other. So with Schrodinger's cat, the cat's in a box, and there is a small amount of radioactive material in the box, and then there's a contraption such that if a sensor recognizes any degradation of an atom, which means radioactivity is being leaked and it's degrading the atomic structure, then a hammer will drop and break a vial of poison and kill the cat. But the box is sealed. So multiple realities are existing at the same time. The cat is alive and the cat is dead. Those are both two realities that could be happening in that box. You don't know which one it is, so both, according to quantum physics, both
box
are
soundproof.
Both are existing at the same time. Both realities are existing at the same time. So, but if you open the box to check to see if the cat is alive or dead, you've added an additional variable to the experiment, and now you've tainted the experiment and you've changed the outcome because you've observed it. So, as long as you don't open the box, the cat is both alive and dead. That's the realities that are overlapping. This movie was kind of a metaphor for that. Okay? What they were realizing is, if we don't leave our box, then we're both alive and dead at the same time. We're existing where we are, and they're existing where they are, as long as we don't open the box. The problem is, as soon as the lights went out and came back on, Hugh left and Amir left. They opened the box. So the second they opened the box, they opened the house, reality changed. And you couldn't fix it. You couldn't go back to the way it was.
Yeah.
And as they're figuring these things out, they realize that the only way they can know which house is theirs is to have a unique signature at the front of each house. That's where the lockbox came in play. And so they took pictures of themselves and they rolled dice, right? 6-sided dice, and whatever number they got, they wrote it on the back of their picture. And then they took a random object out of the house and put it in the box. And so when they came up to a house, when they would go walk out in the neighborhood and they came back to the house, they would check the box, and if it matched all of their items, then they knew it was their house. That was the plan. The problem is, every house was doing the same thing, because we're dealing with parallel universes where things are generally exactly the same that are happening, but there's subtle differences. There's subtle differences that will change reality, right?
They think the difference that really got to me, however, it was just before the montage scene,
Okay, so what?
Earlier in the movie, Mike talked about how if there's another version of myself out there, I need to get rid of him. I need to kill him.
Right.
Half kidding, but then later in the movie, a version of Mike actually comes in through the door wearing a green glow stick, so we know it's totally new Mike.
Yep.
And kills that current Mike.
Right.
And just goes in, kills him, and runs out.
Right. Okay, let me go back real quick, because we mentioned all these names. Okay, these were the couples. Okay, Kevin and Em were a couple. Yep. Amir and Laurie were a couple. Mike and Lee were a couple, and that was the house where it was being held at. And then Hugh and Beth. Now, some interesting dynamics between these. Kevin and Laurie had dated before.
Yep.
And Mike had either a one-night stand or a quick affair with Beth.
One-night stand.
And everybody knew about it except for Hugh. And everybody thought that Mike had talked to Hugh about it, but Mike had never talked to Hugh about it. So there's all that going on.
He did in one of the realities. I remember from in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, Mike said he was going to deliver a letter about this, right?
Right.
Right. And he said that he, Hugh, and Beth all talked about it. And it's in the past, but there's a possibility another Mike hasn't done that yet before.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened.
Yeah. So there's so many details in this movie. It's only an hour and 28 minutes long, but so much happens. It's so dense that so much happens in an hour and 28 minutes. I could spend an hour and 28 minutes trying to describe everything that happened in this movie, and can't, because it happens so in such dense, tight fashion that in my scatterbrain ADHD brain, I can't describe it succinctly enough to do it. Yeah, so I'm going to miss tons of stuff that happened.
No, Dad, we're gonna get lost and talk about this for an hour if we let us.
So I'm going to cut to the chase here. So they're all trying to figure these things out, okay? And M is slowly becoming the main character because she's kind of piecing a lot of things together, and she's realizing that the Hugh and Amir that first came back to the house after they left were not their Hugh and Amir. Because 45 minutes later, Hugh and Amir come back to the house, and it's their Hugh and Amir. And they realize that the Hugh and Amir...
similar version of Hugh and Amir.
Right. They're also realizing that when the four of them went out and came back to the house, they didn't come back to the same house. She's realizing this because she's putting together, okay, we put together this box. Here's all of our numbers. Here's my notepad where it was written in green by these other numbers. And that's when she realizes that Lee and Beth are the only two people that are the same in the house because they've never left. Yeah. And she realizes none of us are in the right house. None of us are in the right house except for Beth and Lee because they've never left. Yeah. And they start to figure out the combinations. Hugh sits there with his calculator on his phone. He says, okay, so there's...
over 5 million.
Yeah, because there's 3 lights. There's the red, green, and blue chem lights. Mm-hmm. There's the 6-sided dice where they roll the dice, right? Yep. And there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
It's over 5 million combinations. So there's over 5 million parallel universe possibilities going on for each one of them. Yeah. And that's just mind-blowing, right? And so they don't know who is who at any point. But there was an interesting foreshadowing in the movie at one point when they're talking about these things kind of earlier on. M says something about, we always talk about wanting to be your better self and be your self-actualized person and be the best version of you. We have the chance to actually meet that best version of us tonight, Well, guess what happens later on? So she and Kevin in the original 8 group, you can tell they love each other, but there's some conflict there. He's supposed to go to Vietnam for like 4 months for a photography job. He's trying to get her to go. She's like, I don't know. And so there's a little bit of conflict there. That, when they're talking and bringing up funny stories, he brings up a funny story of when he and Lori were dating, which is kind of awkward, sitting right there with his wife or girlfriend. I don't know if
girlfriend. It was girlfriend.
And then later on, Lori comes on to him, and when M confronts him about it, he kind of blows her off and is kind of harsh. But at one point, they all go outside to check their cars because somebody smashed a window in one of the cars, and she goes to her car. And when she comes out of her car, Kevin is there. She'd gotten a ring out of the car that he had given her at a fair. Kevin is standing there, and they start talking, and he's very caring. He's very open and very loving, and she asks him, hey, are we good? And he's like, yeah, I have no idea what Lori's thinking. We're good, So he seemed much more rock solid, committed to her in that moment. But then she says, so what did you guys find in Hugh's car? Did anybody take anything out of Hugh's car? And he kind of sits there. He says, he said, what do you mean? She said, well, you guys were checking out to see if anybody broken into Hugh's car. What did you guys find? And he doesn't say anything. And at that moment, she realizes that's the Kevin from one of the parallel universes. And he realizes that she's one of the
it was just a really creepy moment. He did this weird little head tilt and this weird smile.
And she did the same thing, and they both just slowly backed away from each other. But
creepy as heck.
But he reacted towards her better than her Kevin was reacting to her. Right? And so that got her to thinking.
She was looking for the best version of Kevin.
So as everything is coming to a head in this movie, and Mike gets beaten up by Hugh because he finds out about the affair, and then the other Mike comes in and kills him, and everybody's freaking out, and Lori's freaking out because blood from Beth's nosebleed got on her, and then Kevin goes and comforts Lori right in front of his wife. She's like, this is just. You can see in her face, this is just nuts. And she kind of slowly leaves the house. Yeah. And she goes through the neighborhood. Now, something we didn't mention is they all talked about that there was a part in the neighborhood that was darker, a central area that was darker than everywhere else. And that's where the quantum singularity must have been happening. Because they talked about when you walk in there, it's like spinning a roulette, and wherever you come out, you have no idea where you're coming out.
Yeah.
So she went through the neighborhood and started going to these other houses. And she saw houses where they were yelling and beating each other up. She saw a house where there were multiple mics tied up. You know, she saw these gagged and everything. Yeah, she saw these different houses. But then she saw one house. All 8 were in the house. They were still on. They were coupled up. Power was on. All the couples seemed to be getting along fantastically and very loving and caring with each other, including the Kevin and M in the house. They had not left the house, so they had not gotten mixed up in any of the other stuff. They seemed very relaxed and not freaking out like all the other houses. Yeah. So that was kind of the representation that's the idealized parallel universe right there. Mm-hmm. So she went and smashed a window, which we'd already heard happen before in another universe. Yep. But she's the one that caused it. She smashed a window. They all came outside, and before she did that though, she had snuck into the house and she had stolen the ketamine that Beth had brought in all the houses. Oh, yeah. So she had ketamine, and in that scene where she went to her car and got that ring out of the car, she created that scene by smashing the window. And when the other M came out and went to her car, she attacked her with a ketamine, knocked her out with the ketamine, and hid her in her trunk. Mm-hmm. Then she sneaks back into the house because she's like, I'm taking over. I'm going to be the M in this idealized parallel universe. And they start interacting with each other. They start talking about the comet. They say, hey, let's go outside and see the comet. So they all go outside to see the comet. She's standing in the doorway. The M that she just knocked out is dragging herself through the hall to go to the bathroom because she's half drugged. So she goes in there, closes the door while they're all outside looking at the comet. Brains her with the top of the toilet. Blood splatters, and she puts her in the bathtub. She hides her, with the curtain. She loses her ring in the process, grabs her ring off of her in the tub, and her ring is on the floor in the bathroom, and then she comes out. As she's coming out, she gets really woozy and she passes out. Okay? And then screen goes black, and then it's the next morning. She's laying on the couch. She wakes up laying on the couch. And she's like all kind of freaking out. Okay, what's been going on? What's different? Lee's in the kitchen making breakfast. She walks into the hall. The bathroom door starts to open, and she starts to freak out, but it's Beth coming out of the shower. So clearly the other M was not in the shower that morning.
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes out.
Which begs the question, what happened to her?
Right. Well, and we'll get it. So then she goes outside, and Kevin's outside, and they start talking, and they're hugging on each other and this kind of stuff. He says, hey, I found your ring in the bathroom. He gives her the other ring. And as she's holding the ring, his phone rings. And he says, huh, that's weird. It's you. And he answers the phone and says, hello. And then he just pauses. He turns and looks at her with this kind of weird look on his face. And the movie ends.
Oh, shit.
And the movie ends. Yeah. So you don't know if she is the attacking M that attacked and killed the other one, and the other one just disappeared when the singularity went away, or if she was the original M and waking up from all that, and the one that attacked her had disappeared. And who was it on the phone? Was it the original M or the other? So, it was so confusing, but so fascinating. The movie was so fascinating. I loved it the second time I watched it through.
I would love to. Interesting.
I'd love to hear Mitch's thoughts
again, though.
I mean, I'm kind of like Mitch. I mean, I'm going to watch it again probably to catch more stuff. So I'd be interested to hear more. What Mitch's thoughts were, since he's seen it multiple times. What his thoughts were on the movie. But I'm going to just do this because that's what I said I was going to do. Because we're out of time. Our timer's up, but I'm going to keep going. So here's the.
We never actually follow the timer.
That's just to keep us on track so that we know that we're trying. Because otherwise, we won't pay attention to time at all, and we'll look down and it's 9:45 and we've been rambling. So anyway, so did you read about any of the trivia about this movie at all?
Nope.
This movie was made in 5 days for $50,000.
Oh,
5 days.
5 days.
They filmed the entire movie in 5 days for $50,000. Yep.
Dang.
And the entire movie was improvised.
It was improvised?
The writer and director. Oh, by the way, the director. That's his house. They filmed it in his house. His wife was 8.5 months pregnant. She says, and he wanted to film it in his house for realism. She says, you can film it in our house if you can do it in 5 days. So they filmed the movie in 5 days because she was about to have a baby. Because she was having a home birth.
Oh,
she was gonna have a birth at home. And when the night that they filmed M going out to her car,
yeah,
the director's wife was having the baby in the house that night while they were filming that scene.
Nice.
But the writers and the directors gave all the actors a paragraph kind of explaining, okay, this is where you're at in this scene. Didn't give them any dialogue. Just said this is your guidance for this scene. But didn't give them any dialogue. So the movie was almost completely improvised. Yes. All that dialogue was just on the fly.
So that's actually,
And your mom, because your mom started watching it with me last night when we were watching it, and she thought it was fascinating because she said, it doesn't seem like actors. It doesn't seem like they're acting. It just seems like if I was sitting in there at a dinner party watching people interact, it felt very natural because it wasn't a script. They weren't reading lines. They were just talking back and forth. The director said the hardest part was to get them to be quiet because they all wanted to talk so much, you know? Mm-hmm. So there was that. And let's see, what else was... They only had 5 crew members. They had 2 sound guys, the director of photography, the director, and the producer. That was it. 5 days, $50,000 for that movie.
I feel like it was heavily influenced by the Blair Witch Project, which was also heavily improvised.
You know, and here's the thing, and that's what I thought too. I thought that, you know, that they went for that camera stuff to be very like found footage, you know, home video kind of camera feel like Blair Witch. That's what I was thinking too. But when you read the trivia, that wasn't the point of. They weren't doing it for stylistic purposes. They had smaller handheld cameras because they were filming in such a tight space and it was all improvised. They wanted the actors to have as much freedom of movement to do whatever they felt necessary to do. So the cameras had to be just much more portable. So it gave it that feel, but they were doing it just so the actors could move and do their thing. That scene where Kevin is trying to leave the house and M won't let him leave without her.
Yeah.
Right as that scene started, the director handed Kevin, the actor that played Kevin, handed him a note saying, during this scene, you have to try to leave the house. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he gave M a note that says, when Kevin tries to leave the house, do not let him leave the house. So that created an actual conflict between them because he was told by the director, leave the house. She was told by the director, don't let him leave the house. So it created an actual conflict between the two of them. And then really cool. when Hugh and Amir came back the second time after they were gone for like 45 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
The second time they came back, they said, but there was such a standoff. The actors wouldn't let them in the house because they were playing it out and they were so paranoid that there was an argument at the door for 45 minutes. The director finally had to step in and say, let him in the house so the scene can continue. They argued for it was like y'all arguing about killing that wolf.
Don't bring it up.
They were paranoid. And when they're sitting at the dinner table and that bang happens at the door that first time, none of the actors knew that was going to happen. So that reaction you see is a legitimate, real reaction. It freaked them all out. And that's when they all realized, oh, snap, something real is happening in this movie. Because they were basically blind. They really didn't know what was happening in this movie from scene to scene. The girl that played Lee, she says, I was the most clueless of all of them. She says, we were halfway through filming before I realized this wasn't going to be a comedy. She thought it was going to be a comedy. So the whole time she'd been trying to play it up as some kind of funny movie, and it ended up being what it was. So, you know, and I never, Mitch, I never saw Blair Witch. You know me, I'm not a huge scary film kind of guy, so I never watched it. But I bet if it was not scripted and it was like, okay, here's generally what you do, but go. I'm sure that the comedy multiverse. There you go.
Dude, that's Flash.
I'm sure that in one of those houses it was a full-on episode of Friends. I guarantee you, a full-on episode of Friends in one of those parallel universes. But it really,
somebody told you life was not gonna be this way.
but you know, it really made me think. This movie really made me think about the concept of parallel universe. What are you doing? Are you trying not to sneeze?
Trying to hold back a sneeze. Yes.
You look like you're about to. You look like Ace Ventura trying not to throw up. Is what you look like. Einhorn was a man.
That movie did not age well.
So anyway, it made me think a lot about the whole concept of parallel universe. That, you know, when we think about those things, we just think about exact copies of universes. But when you think about parallel is not an exact copy. These movies,
it just runs similar, you know.
These movies were, I mean, these houses, these groups were all basically doing the same things, but there were subtle, small differences. They were keeping them kind of on the same track, but there were differences enough that they led to different outcomes and different futures. And so it was super fascinating. It's definitely a cerebral movie. And because it's
you need
only
to be smart to watch it.
Because it's only an hour and 28 minutes, it's such a dense movie, you have to focus. You can't sit there and just kind of passively watch the movie. You got to concentrate and keep track of stuff. I'm with Mitch. I want to watch it more than just the 2 times and start picking up on more things. Like, for example,
I'm good.
Did you remember the conversation about the secondhand thrift store stuff in the kitchen?
The vase, yeah.
You remember?
I noticed that.
So
happened in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then after this whole debacle, it happened again as like an exact repeat of what happened.
Right, and so I was sitting
time.
there. Yeah, so when I watched it the first time last night, I caught that, but I didn't really make the connection about what was really going on there. But today, when I was watching, okay, so that's the M that heard it at the very beginning, as soon as she walked in the door, basically. Now she's hearing it again, and it's at that moment she realizes, I'm in the wrong house.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of quietly freaking out. So, it wasn't a horror movie, but it was a scary concept.
Psychological thriller.
It was a scary concept. I mean, can you imagine how freaked out you would be if you were in the same situation?
I'd be in the corner crying and rocking in the fetal position.
Here's what I would have done. I'd have never left the freaking house. Even before I knew you shouldn't leave the house to mess up the whole multiverse thing, right? I would not have left the house.
Yeah. To be honest, neither would I.
You know,
I would have left it if someone I cared about truly deeply left and they didn't come back.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, Mitch. That kind of reminds you of like Stephen King's version of sci-fi when he does it, but because I don't know that Stephen King can write anything that doesn't have some scary elements in it, right? I just don't. I don't think his brain works that way. I think there's something scary in everything he writes.
Yeah,
but
you think?
But anyway, so when I first watched the movie last night, I'm like, because we were going to talk about 41 a couple of weeks ago, and we ended up not talking about it because it was the same kind of thing with like time travel, and then we're creating multiple branching pathways. So it was very similar in concept, but this one was so much more fascinating after I watched it the second time than 41 was.
Made a lot better too. It was made a lot better
for $50,000 in 5 days.
Yes.
How talented are these people to be able to pull that off? Now, I love the concept.
And why haven't we seen them in more stuff?
Well,
because that was a freaking awesome project.
Like I said, Kevin I've seen in things before. I just can't remember what I've seen him in. And Mike he's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I knew he was in that, but I've never watched it. And he was also in
He was a New Girl.
Who?
Kevin.
You sure?
Yeah.
Look him up on IMDb, because I looked up him on IMDb and I didn't see that in his credits at all.
There was someone who looks a lot like him in New Girl.
Yeah, but it's not him. Because I've looked at his IMDb credits. He does a lot of voiceover work, video game and animated voiceover work, but like lots of video game stuff. I mean, he's done Star Wars: Old Republic. He's done Battlefield Hardline.
Dermot Mulroney.
Okay, no, that's not Dermot Mulroney.
Okay. Now they look a lot alike, though, don't they?
A little bit.
Here's Dermot.
Yeah, I know.
And then let's see, Kevin in Coherence.
Man, this dude, what's his name? What's his real name? Maury Sterling.
Yeah, look, it's practically a freaking clone.
He's done tons of voiceover work in video games, like tons of Star Wars and stuff. So anyway,
what's his name?
And Maury Sterling. Anyway,
Maury Sterling.
The other than him and the guy that played Mike, I didn't recognize any of the other ones. I mean, Beth maybe I recognized, but I can't remember from where.
He was in Homeland.
Okay. So,
Beverly Hills Chihuahua. He was in Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
So here was another thing. This is how they did low budget stuff. Okay. The cars that were busted and the windshields that were busted, they used 3 rental cars, and they actually busted the windows out of the 3 rental cars. And then they just had the windshields replaced before they took them back. So they actually rented cars, smashed the windows out of them, and replaced the windows and took them back. I guess. So, did you catch the line that Amir said? This was my favorite because I caught it the first time I watched it. I thought it was hilarious. What? When they, after Hugo and Amir left and they came back and then they were going out as groups, right?
Yeah.
And M said, "Oh, what now? So we're going to split up?" He says, "No, we're not splitting up. We're just going into groups," which is the definition of splitting up.
Yeah, it is.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was just a subtle line. I thought that was funny. Anyway, so if you haven't seen this movie, and clearly Mitch has seen this movie multiple times, Griffin, if you haven't seen this movie, dude, I highly would recommend you checking this out. It's a really cool movie.
It's got some language.
Dude, I don't know a movie that doesn't have language anymore.
Griffin's a kid. Come on.
Griffin's not a kid. He's like 21 or something. Griffin, how old are you now? I know you're 20.
Wait. Little Griffin?
Little Griffin is not Little Griffin anymore. You haven't been around in a while, dude.
Yeah, but I'm 25.
Griffin's he's 20.
Oh my God.
He's in college, you doofus. I played D&D with a guy, although we haven't played in a while. So
I thought he was still in high school. What the crap? I'm sorry, Griffin.
Here's the thing. People grow up just like you do. Just because you don't see them anymore doesn't mean that they're in frozen, suspended animation, you doofus. So anyway, sorry, Griffin. I came to your defense. Anyway, I would Griffin, I think you and your dad would love this movie. It would be a great movie to watch. I mean, your whole family might watch it because you guys are all smart. So you guys are probably all watching and sit there and go, "Oh, this is okay. We get it. We understand. It's kind of boring. Okay, whatever." Because you guys are too smart for your own good. So anyway, so that's the movie, guys. It's a really the movie again is Coherence from 2014, and the fact that it is as good as it is on the budget and the time that they did it in. And the fact that they did it almost completely improvised is just fantastic. And, it reminds me, some of my favorite comedy movies are the Christopher Guest movies. Waiting for Guffman, Spinal Tap, A Mighty Wind, those kind of movies. And those are almost...
Mighty Wind?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, great movie. No, listen, it's about 60s... Listen, it's about 60s folk singing groups getting back together for a reunion concert. Oh my God. Dude, if you have not you've seen those with me, haven't you? You need to watch the Christopher Guest movies. You need to watch
and
the
bring them up here when you visit next week.
Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, Mighty Wind, Spinal Tap.
Best in Show I've seen.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Those scenes, for each scene, he basically tells them, this is what I want to get across in the scene. And they improvise the scene. So their dialogues in those movies are almost completely improvised.
Didn't he do the same thing with like some kind of cheerleading mascot thing recently?
Yeah. Have you seen it on Netflix? Same. Okay, there. Our sound had to reset for a second. So, the girl that does like the armadillo in the Mascots movie.
I don't remember the armadillo.
Okay. Anyway, she's like this weird avant-garde armadillo mascot. Anyway, it's the same character from Waiting. She plays the same character, the same person from the Waiting for Guffman movies. It's the same character. It's just it's all in the same universe. But yeah, so when I think completely improvised movies, I think comedy. I don't think horror thriller type stuff. So it was really fascinating that they did it that way. So anyway, so Coherence 2014 is a really good movie. You guys need to check it out. It's fascinating. You need to watch it at least twice. Maybe do some research on quantum physics and Schrodinger's cat before you watch it to have some kind of foundation and understanding before you jump into parallel universes. So that's all we got on that one. I guess we probably need to roll for our next movie and then we can get out of here, right? Because I'm ready to go play some Destiny. Yep, you ready? All right. So where's my dice? So eventually I'm going to be relocating my blanket fort and have a little bit more room and be able to spread out a little bit, but I don't know when that's going to happen because we got stuff to do. Maybe this summer. Maybe I'll surprise your mom and I'll clean the garage out so she can pull her car in the garage by the time she gets home. Anyway, okay.
So, Southern White. Southern White. You're the car is gonna be in the garage, but you're still gonna stream from inside the garage.
Yeah, just her car's gonna be on one side of the garage. I'm gonna have the other side of the garage.
Okay.
Yeah. So because it's a 2-car garage, and so she'll be that will fit. You could probably fit 5 of her fits in this garage. So anyway, okay. So
if you fit them in Tetris style, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to roll. We're going to roll first to see what service we're using, either Hulu or Amazon or Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to roll to see what genre of movie we're going to watch, and then we're going to roll percentage dice to see what movie in that list we're going to watch. So
I kind of hope we get a comedy. I need a good laugh, you know.
Yeah. Well, I got a 2, so that's going to be Amazon. All right.
Okay.
Right. All right. 10-sided dice. And I got a 5.
Okay.
Which is comedy.
Yes.
Good for you.
I need a good laugh.
Then I'm going to roll. All right. And I literally rolled a 10. I got a 10 and a 0. So I rolled a 10. Thanks. So I'm going to go look for the 10th movie in the comedy section of Amazon. And that's what we're going to watch. So y'all hang tight. I will be right back.
Oh, wait, Dad.
Yes.
Isn't a 10 and then a 0 100?
I don't know. It's 10. Whatever's 10 is 10. So, okay. So now people get to listen to Dead Air. I'm going to play that again because I didn't get to look for the movie because you were talking to me about the movie. So I'm going to do that again.
Confused.
Okay, and this is one that it's one of those things on my list. Say 0 and 0 is 100. So, okay. So, this is a movie, one of those things where I have several movies that are on my list of I should have seen these movies already, and I haven't. And this is actually one of them, so I'm looking forward to this. And it's got one of my favorite actors in it, Alan Tudyk. It is what year is it? It is trying to find the year of it. 2010. It's the 2010 movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil, starring Tyler Labine and Alan Tudyk. Alan Tudyk, also of K2SO fame, and Steve the Pirate fame from Dodgeball, and Firefly fame, and so I just love me some Alan Tudyk. So
not Bub's fame though.
So I am looking forward to Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's what we're going to watch next time.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Tucker and Dale
Dad,
versus Evil.
Dad.
I can't not wait. I've
Dad,
never
Dad,
seen it,
Dad,
and
Dad.
I've always wanted to, and I've just never gotten around to it. Yes, Horseshack. When I say Horseshack, do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay. There was a
Tell me real
show.
quick.
There was a show back in the 70s called Welcome Back, Kotter. And it was like public school in New York, Bronx or whatever. And it was...
So like Sesame Street.
No. It was high school. High school classroom in New York. And Kotter was the teacher. And he had this classroom of like losers. And there was the four main guys. There was Washington, there was Horseshack, there was Barbarino, and there was Epstein. Did I say that before? Anyway, and Horseshack was, whenever Kotter would ask a question and he wanted to know the answer, he'd go, ooh, 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 ooh. He would do that constantly. So that when you're doing that, it's, oh, and guess what? This is also where John Travolta got his start.
Who's John Travolta? Couldn't even keep a straight face.
The screen is not frozen. I'm just in shock.
I know.
I'm just in shock.
I
people.
know who it is, Dad. I'm just being stupid.
So anyway, he played Barbarino. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about when I refer to Horseshack.
What I was trying to ask was...
Yes. What are you trying to ask?
If we're not able to stream next week,
it'll be the following week.
What if when you visit we watch it together?
Oh, sure, we can do that. Yeah, so I'll be in Ohio with Connor next Friday. Depending
Wednesday through Monday of the following week.
So depending on how much space I have in the car, if I can take my equipment, we may very well be doing a joint stream next Friday from his apartment. I would do it from the campground where we're going to be camping, but I don't think we have good enough Wi-Fi out there. So.
Yeah, no.
So we'll try to set it. If I have room to bring my mic and my camera and my laptop, we'll see. But there may not be room for all
Would
that.
there not be enough room?
Dude.
How much stuff do you have?
I told you. A 20 by 13 tent, 3 chairs, ice chest, food, games. I don't know what else we got to bring in Mom's Honda Fit.
I'm talking about how big is all your streaming stuff?
I'm just saying.
Doesn't it fit in? It's like one little carry-on thing.
It's low on the totem pole. If something's got to go, it's going to be the first thing to go. So we may be sitting next to each other next week. Who knows? So hopefully we can. That would be kind of cool for old time's sake. So anyway, next time, whether it's next Friday or the following Friday, we're going to watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And we haven't done a comedy in a while. It's been a long time since we watched a comedy. Oh, yeah. It's because most of the comedies these days are pretty raunchy, and so we have to skip them. So anyway, we'll see.
So most likely we would have to hold the executive right to skip this one if it is too raunchy. But then again,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. I'm looking forward to talking to the folks here on the stream next week together in your apartment. It's going to be weird kind of setting that up, but it'll be kind of fun. It'll be like old time's sake. Guy, Griffin, and Mitch, thanks for hanging out with us. Mitch, I'll see you in a few minutes on the Xbox, and we will continue this. I'm going to continue streaming from there starting at 10 o'clock, and we'll go from there. But that's all we've got. I got nothing else. I'm talked out. My drink's empty. I got to get another one. So I'm done. I'm assuming you're done.
My plate. I'm gonna give me some more pizza.
All right, so we're done, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Come listen to us. Come see us next Friday at 8 o'clock on Twitch, or listen to us on Monday when the podcast comes out. And we'll see you guys next time. And always remember,
stay nerdy, my friends.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you later.
Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.